once you've taught your students how to perform the basic strum patterns, the next step is to get them playing chords. Now, have patience because chords require the use of both hands doing two different actions. Of course, your left hand is keeping the chord going and your right hand is producing the strum. So if your students are having troubles with this, don't worry about it. We have another video all about troubleshooting, how to play chords and other things, and you can check that video out for some tips. But for right now, let's go ahead and look at the C chord. So in your packet, you will have some chord pictures, just like this one. And when I teach my students how to play chords, first thing I go over is how to read a chord chart. And so we look at it the traditional way, and I kind of label the things that they see in the picture. So we go over the fact that these strings going up and down right here, or these lines are actually the strings on the ukulele, whereas these lines going back and forth this way are the frets. And the students then learn that the dot is basically their fingers. So chord charts are really useful and helpful in helping us figure out how to play chords. The only thing that's missing from this information is what finger to use. So we go over that together. And just from teacher to teacher, the general rule of thumb with chords and which fingers to use is whatever fret is the chord is in, that's the finger you use. So this is the first fret, so anything up here you use first finger. Second fret, second finger, and third fret, third finger. So I show them this, but then I explain to them that when we play our ukuleles, we don't play it up and down like this. So when I look at chord charts, I either turn them or I turn them physically or turn them in my head. And I personally think chord charts should be written this way anyways, because that's what the instrument looks like when you play it. So I explain to them that what we're looking at here is we have the first string, or the A string, and we are going to be going to the third fret, and the last bit of information that they don't know yet is that we're going to be using our third finger. So once we look at the chart, we then apply it to our instrument. So we get into ukulele playing position, and I have them take their left thumb and place it on the back of what I call the spine of the ukulele, and I have them place it somewhere in the middle. And then we label and identify our fingers. So I have them wiggle their pointer finger and we label it as first finger. I have them wiggle their middle finger and we label that as second finger. I have them wiggle their ring finger and we label that as the third finger. And I do have them wiggle their pinky, even though you really don't use your pinky unless you start getting to some pretty advanced chords. And it's important for them to know that that is fourth finger when you play the ukulele. So once we've done that, what I have them do is I have them take their third finger, we wiggle it, and we put it on the first string, or as I sometimes call it, the first floor. And we start up at the corner in first fret. And I explain to my students that the silver lines on the instrument are the frets. However, when we play chords, we don't place our finger on the fret, we play them in the space between the frets. So that first space between the neck joint and the head joint in the neck, that's actually fret 1. And so we bump over the first fret, bump, and we bump over the second fret, bump, and we stop in the third fret. And with their thumb placed on the back, the rest of the fingers kind of spread out, because we'll use them later for different chords. And that right there is what a C chord should look like. Now, when we play C chords, I do make sure to tell my students that we play using the tippy toes, or the tip of our fingers, which is basically anti-proper recorder playing. We always tell them to use the fleshy part of their fingers for recorder, and if you have students playing the ukuleles that have played recorders previously, they kind of get nervous about that, but I explain to them that it is a different instrument and therefore it needs a different technique. So we are on the tip of our fingers in the third fret, first string, and that right there is a C chord. And once they have it, we then practice playing the C chord using our different strums. And I normally have my students explore on C before I have them play as a class or anything like that. And while they're exploring, I come around and check them out. So this is C, once I kind of assess the students on how they're doing and help fix some problems that I see, then we go ahead and move as a class into playing C chord on strum number 1, strum number 2, strum number 3. And then we move on to applying our C chord to a song like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. That's the C chord.